Yo, 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 what's good, world? We back with another episode of the No Pressure Podcast, man. I'll be your host today, Coach Miles, scream at me. Got my brother with me, Coach Teej, my guy, my brother, my dog. Um, man, let's go ahead and dive right into it, man. I think we got a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. First things first, we got Mother's Day coming up, man. Shout out to all the mothers. Shout out to everybody, holding it down. You got any particular plans for this upcoming Mother's Day? Just kind of talk to us about
it. First, definitely want to shout out my mom, Sharon McCray. Thank you for everything. Love you. Hope I'm making you proud. We talk almost every day, but shout out to you, Ma. Secondly, I want to shout out to the best mom I know, my wife, Ashley. She's great. The boys love you. I love you. You are the backbone to this family, the backbone to this household. Forever grateful that you gave me a chance. Forever grateful that you said yes. But as far as plans go, bro, it's kind of like a little joint venture. So Drew graduating on Saturday. And when we come back that Saturday, we're gonna do a little seafood boil. So that's gonna be good. But on Sunday, Ashley's gift, I hope it'll be here on time. But order her a gift that I think she's really gonna like. But probably just be chilling on Sunday. What I may end up doing, actually not even what I'm probably going to do. I don't want to say. We're going to have to talk offline because I want to surprise her on Sunday with it. But got something in store for Sunday. But I'm very excited about her gift. Like I think she's really going to love it. So next time we pod, I'll let you know if she loved it or not. But
yeah. Okay, you can't share like you can't give no little hints to the viewers. You can't. Matter of fact, no. We gonna chill. We gonna chill, man.
It's something she can keep. It's something she can keep forever. Something she can keep forever, like literally for the rest of her life. For the rest of her life, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I think
don't hurt nobody now.
With it. I ain't, man. Like, thing about Ashley is, man, she's very easy to please, man. Like, I find myself like, I feel like when it comes to me receiving gifts, like, I don't want like monetary, but like I can be like, oh, I want this game, and she'd be like, okay, I'll get you this game. Like it's simple. It'd be so hard for me sometimes to feel like I did a good job of giving a gift to Ashley. I don't know, but she's so easy to please. But it's like the high end or valuable things don't mean much to her. Like she likes more creative and thoughtfulness. So in my years of being with her, like I've been trying to be better with being thoughtful with my gifts. Like last Mother's Day, which she has up here framed, I wrote a letter, like a long, like handwritten letter that she loves, and she really loved that gift. So yeah, hopefully, I continue to keep the ball rolling, bro, just to show a little bit how much I appreciate her in that one day, man. But what you got planned, man?
Yeah, before I answer that, I wanted to ask you real quick, and then I'm gonna get back to myself. But as far as just the creative aspect of you guys' relationship, obviously, Ashley, she's super creative. Has a very artistic mind, things like that. Do you feel like that's rubbed off on you? And if so, in what ways has it rubbed off on you?
I will say yes, it rubbed off on me, bro, because honestly, Ashley is the person that if she put her mind to it, she could do anything. Like when I tell you she's a graduate of YouTube University, that's Ashley, bro. Like, I mean, I've seen her do things and I'm just like, bro, like, how did you even get that skill set? And she'd be like, YouTube. I mean, even now, when we first got together, like it wasn't like she was, doing hair, but now she does my hair. She does our, my son's hair, her mom's hair. And she's really good at what she does. I remember one time, like, her screen broke on her laptop and, she did it herself via YouTube, put it back on, ordered her screen, put it back on there. I mean, just little stuff like that, bro. But like, she's just so creative with everything that she does. And like I said, just her mind, like I truly feel, like I said, anything she put her mind to, she can do it. So I feel like, that rubbed off on me in a sense of just like, I don't have to be so reliant on others or on technology or whatever the case may be. Like I can do things myself if I put my mind to it. even with like what she got going on now with trying to, push our business C4 event rentals. Like that was all her vision. She's just trying to find a way to where she can work. When I say work from home, like just really be around her family as much as possible. And that has rubbed off on me, which is why, I've been a little bit more active on stuff like TikTok and taking the time to create and edit my videos that I'm posting on TikTok or Instagram Reels just to match her energy and help her achieve her goals in a sense, man. So yes, to answer your question, it definitely has.
Yeah, facts, man. That's cool. That's really cool to hear. Yeah, just as far as well, first and foremost, let me go ahead and shout out my wife. Happy early Mother's Day to my wife, Mariah. Also, too, special early happy Mother's Day to my mother, Evelyn Leathers. And I do want to shout out my sister, too, my blood sister, Asia. Happy early Mother's Day to you as well.
Jasmine, my bad.
Just what we
my
have.
fault, Jazz. I love you. My fault, Jazz. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for my nephew.
Yeah. Go ahead and slide that in there. But I got a gift. I think it's a really nice gift. I think it's gonna be really special. I hope it should get here on time. I'm not too concerned about it. If it gets here, a day late or whatever the case may be, I think my wife will be understanding of it. But I'm excited. I'm super excited about the gift that I got for her, and I think she's going to really like it. I think it's going to be something that she can keep forever as well. So we align, Coach. We align with that vision right there.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be a really good weekend. I'm just wanting her to be relaxed this weekend. Hopefully I can take the responsibility of having the boys, and hopefully she can just chill, relax, get off your feet, all that good stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's something that she values as well. So I'm definitely excited about this weekend. I'm excited about the gift, and shout out to all the mothers. My wife, my mother, everybody, friends, mothers with kids. I like all that, man. Shout out to everybody for sure. And we just want to wish y'all a happy Mother's Day, especially since we're not going. I don't know. We'll probably pod sometime next week. So by the time this comes out, y'all be able to tap into it. But just moving forward, man, or just moving on, I do want to ask you a couple things. We haven't really had the opportunity to dive into this, but I do. One of the proudest moments that I've been of you, as far as your coaching career, is year one, when you won Coach of the Year. I do want you to just paint a picture for our viewers about that moment in particular, what it meant to you. Did you expect to win? Just kind of talk to us about just that moment for you, especially being so early in your coaching career, for you to have the accomplishment of winning Coach of the Year in your first year at the high school level. I think that's really cool. So, just kind of talk to the viewers about that.
First, man, I was humbled to win the award because, it caught me off guard. I didn't even have goals or aspirations to, or even a thought like I got a chance to win this award. So, when I got voted as the Coach of the Year amongst my peers, I was like, damn, I kind of felt like I belonged in a sense. But let me be the first to say, man, I was blessed with a very senior heavy group. And again, like I said, I've said in the past, like that group a year prior only had one win. So I knew that I just wanted to give them, the goal was to really just make the playoffs. I wanted to give them the opportunity to make the playoffs in their senior year. But I was just blessed enough to have a group that bought into, my thoughts, my processes, what I believed in, my standards. I had great leadership from top to bottom. I had guys who didn't mind being held accountable. I had guys who did what they needed to do in the classroom. So it made practices, that much enjoyable, easier. Our practices were competitive. But, seeing that hard work pay off and finishing third in a very competitive conference, and then, winning Coach of the Year was a beautiful thing. Like I said, it really just gave me that mindset of like, I belong. And, but, I don't really do it for that. We don't really do it for that. What I want is, championships for not only myself, but for the programs that I'm coaching at. So I think like from a coaching standpoint, like one of my biggest goals is I do want to be a conference champion at some point. Done that in cross country, but I want to do it in basketball, the sport that I'm most passionate about. But yeah, man, it was just a really blessing. I mean, it caught me off guard, got a lot of love, man. My seniors were very happy for me. And it meant a lot, bro, because it let me know that we had a good season. I can't win Coach of the Year without them. So I feel like that's a we award. We won Coach of the Year because I mean, yes, I'm coaching, giving them the guidance, but they still got to go out there and put the ball through the hoop. They got to go out there and get stops. They got to go out there and get rebounds. They got to battle. They got to weather through that adversity of a road game. So yeah, man, shout out to my guys for that, man. That's our award. We won that award together, and that I'm very proud to say that.
Yeah, that's love, man. That's love. I remember when you had announced it, I almost damn near cried because it's almost like the perfect storm, or it's almost like the perfect story. Like you couldn't have wrote it any better in a book as far as, starting the AAU program, then transitioning to Warren County High School, not having the best year prior to you actually getting there. And then once you did get there, being able to be successful or, however you want to paint it, as far as finishing third in a really stacked league. I mean, it's just really big time. And I was really happy for you. I was really proud of you. You were definitely deserving of it. And
thank you.
I feel like the job that you did that year, I mean, it's just big time. And I don't really feel like a lot of coaches are built for a situation like that. So for you to not only show that you built for it, but actually thrive in that situation, man, I think that's huge. And like I said, man, it was kind of like something written out of a book. So definitely wanted to highlight that. Just kind of, I'm happy that you kind of gave that breakdown because you are a super humble dude. You're a guy, you don't really brag too much about your accolades or anything like that. So I just wanted to kind of give you your flowers at this moment as far as that season. And I mean, the job overall, not just that one particular season, but, just the totality of your tenure. I think it's been really strong. You've had a really strong impact in that school, in that community. And like I said, I just wanted to salute to you and give you your flowers throughout that whole process. So, shout out to you.
Man, I appreciate that, brother. That's love. Hopefully I continue to make you and others proud with this coaching shit, man, because I love it. And I hope I get the opportunity to do it for the rest of my life, bro. And you already know you're my favorite coach, bro. So a lot of the stuff that is instilled in me, I get from you, and vice versa. Iron sharpens iron, bro. But I did want to ask you something from a coaching standpoint. Me and Coach VJ was, talking earlier. Coach VJ is the athletic director and head football coach at Warren County High School. A big part of the change that happened over years. Excuse me. Shout out to him. Without VJ, there would be no Warren County wouldn't be where it's at right now. So big shout out to you, bro. If you listen to this, but let's just say, hypothetically speaking, like you are running Leathers University and you are in control of everything, but you got to build Leathers University from the ground up from a basketball standpoint. What is the kind of athlete? What are you looking for? And when I say athlete, I'm meaning like deeper than just their skill. What are some of those intangible things that you are looking for in a guy that you would be like, I want to recruit him. I want him in my program. What are some of the things you look for?
Yeah, man, it's a lot. First and foremost, I try to, make sure I'm evaluating a guy's character. I think that's something that's really important. I try to make sure that, I'm bringing in high character guys into any program that I work for. I think that's really important. I think it alleviates problems as far as off the court issues or, issues in the locker room, things like that. I try to make sure, bringing in high character guys is really important. I'm not saying that that's the end all be all or anything like that, because at the end of the day, I do feel like it's our job as coaches to develop one's character as well. Show these young men what a man looks like, or show them how a man is supposed to carry himself. So that's not the end all be all, but I do try to make sure bringing in high character guys is at the forefront for sure. So that's first and foremost. I think toughness is really important too. I definitely want to bring in tough-minded guys. I don't want to bring in soft-minded guys into the program. I think soft-minded guys and weak-minded guys, I think that can, kind of permeate through your locker room if you let it. So with that being said, you want to bring in guys who, have a chip on their shoulder, know how to be coached, know how to accept criticism, know how to accept coaching, things like that. So tough-minded guys, I think that's important. Competitive guys, I think that's really important too. You can't really teach somebody how to compete. You got to kind of have that within you. So I think that's really important too. From a basketball standpoint, the things I just said, those are kind of like the intangible things I look for. From a basketball standpoint, it can go a lot of different ways. Obviously, you want guys that can play. You want guys who are skilled. Obviously, at the end of the day, however you want to put it, or whatever offense you're running, whatever defense you're running, some coaches like to, like to bring in guys who can really, really shoot the ball, so they can run 5 out or whatever the case may be. I'm not that type of guy who's just going to, look at your skill set. I like to look at the whole entire picture. But from a basketball standpoint, positional size is cool. Having the ability to handle the ball is really good. You want to be able to get from point A to point B without losing the ball and stuff like that. Shooting is cool, but I think all the basketball stuff is kind of at the back burner if you don't have toughness, if you're not coachable, if you don't have high character. I'm looking at that stuff before I look at the skill set of a guy. A lot of guys can score, obviously. A lot of guys can, play defense. But, if we're building a program, we're building it off not only a guy's skill set, but the character of a guy. If he's tough, if he has competitiveness about him, I think all that is important too. So, from a holistic standpoint, looking at all aspects of a guy, can he hold a conversation? Is he a yes sir, no sir type guy? Can he be coached? Is he a good basketball player? If he's a point guard, can he handle the ball? If he's a point guard, can he orchestrate an offense? Can he handle pressure? If he's a big, can he score with his back to the basket? Can he stretch the floor? Can he make passes out of the post? If he's a wing, can he guard a point guard? Can he also guard a bigger guy? It's a bunch of little things in terms of just what we're looking for just from a basketball standpoint, but the holistic picture is more important than just the skill set of a guy. So I feel like I just did a whole lot of talking, but yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. That's your passion. Like, you had the floor. That you answered the question thoroughly, because that really wasn't for me. That's just for like these young athletes out here, with who aspire to play at the collegiate level, where you do have influence of who's coming into, Wingate University at the time. You had influence about who's coming into Brevard. And I know these aren't going to be your end all be all. So like, this is from not only a college athlete, so someone who's played the part, but someone who's now actively recruiting the part and attracting, these talents that he's looking for. Every coach has what they're looking for, especially from a talent standpoint. But I feel like I would say 80%, I'm making up the number, but 85% of these coaches from an intangible standpoint are looking for a lot of the things that you named. Because currently, man, I don't want to say struggling, because I'm in the mindset now of it is what it is. And, I'm going to go with the guys who want to be there. But, we're currently in the off season. I'm at a small 1A school, sharing athletes and whatnot. But to the guys who, strictly play basketball, they played last year, like a lot of these guys have not been coming to, and I'm not even work. It's just some voluntary stuff. Like, if I'm just me running on the track, or me, I lived during my planning period, but me getting up shots, or us doing some quick little, drills or whatnot. Like, a lot of guys aren't really showing up, and I'm calling them out on these things. And, I got guys telling me they don't like to lift. I got guys, really, or really, a lot of guys are, playing AAU in a sense, and that's giving them their fix. But it's not like they're on the circuit. It's just like we can be better. We have improvements that we need to be making from a high school basketball standpoint. And I'm not trying to neglect what you got going on with the AU, but you can sacrifice some time to staff the school. You can sacrifice some time to break down film one-on-one. There's just so many things that, again, struggling. I'm gonna say struggling for the lack of a better word, like struggling with. But like today, for example, I had 3 guys, and right now I'm just really focused on the returners. But I had 3 guys, and we had a very good workout, a lot of conditioning, a lot of good work that we put in, and we ended, with 2-on-2. And it's just like I don't even find myself getting. If this was 2 years ago, but I would be mad, like, man, why guys? But I have to put my energy. I've learned in coaching over my 6 years that I have to put my energy to where it's valued, and I have to understand that, one, I'm dealing with kids, and 2, like, sometimes the best teacher's experience. So like I'm very transparent with guys. I always going into every single year, I always say I don't have a varsity. So like to a 9th grader that's coming out trials, I don't want you to have the mentality, I'm trying to make the JV team. No, you should be trying to make the varsity team. I don't have a team. I wholeheartedly believe that, because I feel like that creates entitlement. That creates I don't have to work as hard. I was here last year, so I'm gonna be here next year. That ain't how this works. That ain't how coaching works. That ain't how life works. I feel like you got to look to better yourself in everything that you're doing. So if you don't have this opportunity, if you have a class that's structured for you to lift weights, you should be going to lift weights. If you have a coach who's sacrificing time away from his family to get in the gym with you for free, you don't get paid for it, I feel like you should find opportunities to be there. Again, every shit happens, shit comes up, but you should be there sometime. Especially if you've seen what happened previously where we win and we want to keep winning or win more needs to be done. But that's where I have to be like, everybody ain't got that mindset like me. Everybody ain't got that mindset like you. Especially with this generation, like the cloths that we cut from are just a little bit different. So it's either sometimes you got to have that mentality as a coach, like either you get with it or get lost. Like I can deal with a kid who is at least making attempts or controlling what they can control. But if you're not controlling what you can control, how can I expect you to be a part of this program, this standard that I have now set? Like this 6-year foundation, my house is starting to be built now. I'm not trying to retract and go backwards. So if you're not with that, like you said, those mentalities can be contagious, can be cancerous to a program. I got to make sure I weed those things out. So shortly after graduation, summer workouts are going to be starting. And my workouts this year are going to be very intense, very, very intense, because I feel like I got to tap in who's going to be here mentally with me come November, because it's going to be a mental test this upcoming year. It's going to be mental challenge. I feel like the mentally tough teams are the most successful. Something you alluded to earlier. You're looking for toughness. Like I'm not looking for guys who make excuses, guys who can't be held accountable, guys who can't control the little things like going to class or asking their teacher for help if they need help. Those little things correlate to being a good person. Being a good person correlates to being a good athlete, in my opinion. So I just went on my little tangent, but that's why I wanted to ask you that, because maybe hearing it from you to these guys who have aspirations of playing college basketball, but they're not having college basketball work ethic. They don't even have high school basketball work ethic. How you going? It's easy to say, "Oh, I want to make $1 million, but I'm not going to work. I want to make $1 million, but I'm not willing to work overtime. I want to make $1 million, or I don't have a job." Like it's not, the math ain't mathing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's
facts,
where my head was at,
facts.
Coach.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and just kind of circling back to that point, it's like, especially at the college level, it's like, man, coaches' jobs are on the line, right? I heard somebody say recruiting is the lifeblood of the program, and I mean that resonates with me, because it's like, if you don't have the right guys in your program, I mean, you're not gonna have a successful season. If you don't have a successful season, I mean, nowadays you can get fired. You can get fired after 1 year. You can get fired after 2 years. It's not guaranteed for you to have 4 or 5 years to actually build a program. Especially in today's age with NIL and the transfer portal, like these administrators, these ADs, these presidents, they want things to roll immediately, right? So with that being said, I mean, if we're not bringing in the right guys, you can lose your job, and that's when it goes back to recruiting the right guys and recruiting guys who you can go to war with. I think that's another thing too that I try to make sure anytime we're trying to bring a guy into the program or interested in a guy, I got to really say to myself, can I go to war with this guy? Is this guy going to fold when the going gets tough, or is he going to rise to the occasion? So, I try to have direct and transparent conversations, especially to guys who I'm recruiting, our staff is recruiting. And I mean, the two things, like I said, can I go to war with you? And, do you have high character about yourself? Obviously it's my job to evaluate talent. It's my job to, see if a guy can shoot or if a guy can get to the paint, if a guy can, orchestrate an offense, all that stuff. But I mean, the two main things, can I go to war with you? Do you have high character? Everything else, I'll evaluate that from a different perspective. But, it's big. It's big that, if I have a conversation with you and, we vibing, and then I see you play and, I see you guys a little toughness, a little dog in you, a little competitiveness about you, that's already attracting me outside of it, if you can make shots or outside of, for example, I'm not going to say the kid's name, but it was a guy who came into our gym, I say last month, and he was just working out with the guys. They playing pickup, and I mean, he didn't play particularly well. It's not like he was going out here and scoring every basket, but I mean, he was super competitive. He was vocal. He wanted to win every pickup game, not a real game, every pickup game. He defended. He rebounded. He just had a good day outside of not just scoring the ball. And I mean, we ended up offering that kid, and he left our gym with an offer. So I mean, it's bigger than just scoring the ball. It's a lot of different things that you can do outside of scoring that can attract these college coaches, especially if you have those type of aspirations. So at the end of the day, if you have those things about you, if you have those intangibles, if you have a little bit of dog in you, you can definitely play at the next level or whatever level you're trying to play at. I ain't just talking about college, whatever you're trying to do, whatever aspirations you have. So yeah, that's just kind of my 2 cents about it.
Appreciate the insight, Coach. So, again, hopefully somebody hear it, get motivated. And it ain't got to be sports related. I think a lot of this stuff we talk about correlate to real life. So thank you for sharing, Coach. Now, man, let's segue to what's been going on in the NBA, man. So first and foremost, let's start with the Boston Celtics, who I was completely wrong about on the last episode. I think I said I had them winning in 5. Now they got to win in 6 if they win at all. But it's some of the ugliest basketball I done seen, bro. Like, it's, I'm a fan of the 3-point shot, but I'm also a realist of understanding that's a failing shot. I've said before, 40% is considered elite. But when you're up 20 points in the third quarter and you're just chucking up every shot as a 3 and they're not falling, and that lead is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. At what point does Joe Mazzulla call a timeout and say, y'all stop shooting so many damn 3s? Because that's how they lose game 1.
I want to get your opinion about something, man. I want to get your opinion. I know right. I've been on social media the past couple of days, man, and I see everybody just dragging Joe Mazzulla through the mud. Like, oh, why don't you tell your guys to stop shooting 3s? He's doing a terrible coaching job. He don't know how to draw up no sets to get them 2-pointers. He can only draw up sets to get 3s. I'm like, I'm seeing everything, bro. Me personally, I like Joe Mazzulla. I think he's a really good coach.
I agree.
Came from West Virginia. He definitely has a very, very sharp basketball mind. And I've noticed that not only this year, but ever since he got the job. He's sharp. He's very, he's very sharp-minded when it comes to the game. I think a lot of people in particular, the past couple of days are just saying a whole bunch of stuff about him not being able to coach, and I just think that's so blasphemous. These guys, this same team last year, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but like just in general, like this same team last year, I mean, they ran through the entire playoffs. They ran through the East. They beat the Mavericks in the finals. Like, they had a really, really strong year last year. These guys took care of the Magic. All right, now one possession game 1, one possession game 2, came up short end of the stick, and now it's like, oh, Joe Mazzulla can't do this, he can't do that. Like, I want everybody in the whole wide world to pump your brakes, man. Pump your brakes. All right. This Boston team is really, really good. They do shoot a lot of threes. They had the same style of play last year, and they won the championship. They beat everybody. They beat the hell out of everybody. All right. They done lost 2 games. The Knicks are good. I think everybody is forgetting that.
Hold on.
The Knicks they're a good team.
They are. It's not the fact that Boston's losing. They're choking 20-point leads. Like, y'all, and it's like, when I said, Joe Mazzulla, when it's did, he could be in the huddle saying, yeah, hey, man, let's kind of simmer down on threes. Or he could be very well be saying, like, hey, to your point, these are shots that we make. So if we got them, let's take them. But adjustments have to be made. Like, we just lost game 1 like this. We can't lose game 2 like this. And it happened in a very similar fashion. I do think they took smarter shots in game 2. It was just a lid on the rim. And like you said, the Knicks are a very good team. Matter of fact, the style of play that these games have been, ugly and low-scoring defensive grinds, fits the mold of the New York Knicks, where I feel like Boston, they're trying to, they're a good defensive team as well, but if the game ain't high-scoring, it's not going to go in Boston's favor. These low-scoring encounters are in favor of the Knicks, who I feel like on paper, when you got a Mikal Bridges, you got a Jalen Brunson, a Josh Hart, Cat, like they got some solid pieces. And you got multiple guys who can, when I say get the job done, the Celtics, they got a Peyton Pritchard who he'll hit open 3. Jaylen Brown, he's a very streaky shooter. Doesn't get to the rack I feel like as much as he should. Jayson Tatum, he's going to overshoot. He's not going to get to the rack nowhere near as much as he should. Derek White, I think in game 1, he shot 16 threes. He shot 16 threes. Why are you, again, Al Horford? Mind you, Al Horford, I love Al Horford, a defensive guru. I feel like he's a big example of adapting to stay relevant. He has the ability to shoot threes. But damn it, you shoot a lot of threes, Al Horford. You shoot a lot of threes. And my whole thing is, and again, like, I understand that's what their style of play and that's what they do. But the playoffs, I think things change. Things change a little bit. Especially game by game, adjustments are going to have to be made in team by team. They're playing the Knicks. Like I said, the Knicks are a defensive-minded team. I don't know if that game in the first half was ugly and low scoring. The Knicks couldn't score. Then they just kept clawing and willing and getting stops. Mikal Bridges put on a defensive clinic, in my opinion. From a mentality standpoint, like they dogging and slamming the Celtics out right now. And like I said, I'm not blaming Joe Mazzulla. It's just like, because these are professionals. So like Joe Mazzulla can say one thing, or he might not even have to say nothing at all. Like, these guys know, like, all right, y'all, like we overshooting, right? We shooting some threes not falling. Let's try to get to the cup. I don't think there's nothing wrong in saying that. I don't think there's nothing wrong with Tatum leading or Brown leading by example in doing that. Obviously that's your bread and butter, but you know the old saying, you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
I think the blame, if anybody has any ounce of blame, I think it's Jayson Tatum. It's Jayson Tatum.
I ain't gonna argue, brother, but tell us why.
You gotta play better.
Tell us why. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're the leader of the team. You are the guy. You're supposed to have something to prove. This past summer, you ain't playing the Olympics. You was sitting on the bench. You was mad about that. All right. Like, this is your time. Like, and I'm going to put my brakes on Jayson Tatum, too, because he's versus the Magic. He actually had a really good series. So I don't even want to make it seem like I'm throwing shade on him. He played really good versus the Magic. He got them up out of there. He had multiple 30-point games. He played really well versus the Magic. I feel like he struggled these past 2 games versus the Knicks. I think he has another level that he can get to, and I think he will. I think he'll untap.
He ain't got no choice.
Is that he's struggling with? Yeah. And I think he gonna lead the charge in order to get them back on track in this series. I think they're going to go to New York, and I think they're going to win 2 games, and it's going to go back to Boston 2-2. So I don't really have any concerns, but I do feel like I don't think it's fair to Joe Mazzulla for people to just be crucifying him like he can't do this right, he can't do that right. I think he's a hell of a coach, and at the end of the day, they lost 2 games by 1 possession. Like, if the ball bounces another way, everybody praising this man. That's my whole thing about it, bro. If the ball would have bounced this way, they would have won game 1. If the ball would have bounced that way, they would have won game 2. They could very well easily be up 2-0 right now, and it's a whole different narrative. All right, you lose 2 1-possession games, and now it's like, oh, Joe Mazzulla can't do this. He can't do that. I think if anybody is to blame, it's Jayson Tatum.
Let's blame the players.
Jaylen Brown too.
Let's blame the players. Let's blame the players.
Jaylen Brown got to play better. And to your point too, I mean, it's not like Joe Mazzulla out there playing for him. If everybody in the NBA is smart enough to know, all right, we got a 20-point lead. We can get to the cup, and we can bleed some clock. If we can run this set, get us a good post up or a backdoor layup or something like that, going towards the rim. I think that's something that they would identify. But it's like, I think the Knicks are really good, and everybody is making it seem like the Knicks aren't very good. They're a good team, and I mean, they handle their business. They did what they're supposed to do these first 2 games, and now it's going back to New York. Matter of fact, how you think it's going to go? How you think it's going to go these next 2 games in New York?
Shit, man, I don't know. Like I said, I thought it was going to be 5, but I think I don't even know. I think game 3 Boston go roll them. I think they're
going to win both games, bro.
You very well could be right. I mean, I again, the Celtics had both of these games won, and they found ways to lose. I won't say like the Knicks they have offensively, they've been pretty bad, bro. Like, they've been bad offensively. I just think the Celtics have been bailing them out with the amount of threes that they have been taking. Like, it's just like y'all are so skilled. Y'all don't have to, like, why Jaylen Brown? I mean, why not Jaylen Brown? Why aren't, because I've seen Drew Holiday operate in the post. Why they ain't like getting mismatches and getting Jalen Brunson in the post? Force him to be a post defender. If you get Jalen Brunson in foul trouble, goddamn, you probably increase your percentages of winning tremendously. It's not enough attacking of Jalen Brunson because we're settling for threes. Because if Jalen Brunson is foul trouble, now that puts the pressure on a Mikal Bridges, or if you put the ball in Josh Hart's hands to be the point, like someone else, or Cameron Payne, like someone else has to just be the point guard. We know Jalen Brunson is the heartbeat of the New York Knicks. They're going to go far as far as Jalen Brunson takes them. So what am I going to do? I'm going to attack him defensively. I'm going to get him tired. I'm going to make him, if they switching everything, I'm going to get Tatum to set a guard-to-guard screen, post up, and you're 6'9", 6'10". Let's shoot over him. Let's get these easy shots. Porzingis set a ball screen, and then you got like, I don't see enough of strategic. Like, I feel like in war, you got to be strategic in your attacks. We're not strategically attacking the heart of the team. I'm always thinking like, all right, who's the best guy? And if we can get this guy off the court or out of the equation, that's gonna make it a little bit easier. So let's start there. I'm always in that mindset. I'm always in that mindset, bro, just from a preparation standpoint. Like, I've talked about J5 at Northampton County. Like, he was a focal part of my practices, of my game plan. Like, I literally had a scout guy. You are J. Your name is not Bob. Your name is J5. That is J5 in this gym right now. And if you go, I want you to play like him. You can do whatever, do all these things. And if the team wasn't focused, or they had a moment of lapse of judgment, I'm blowing my whistle, and I'm being stringent on that. Like, we're going to attack the head of the snake. If we live by it, we die by it. But if we take care of this, we improve our chances tremendously. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Yeah, facts, bro. Facts. I mean, I hope the guys can get it. I hope Boston get it together. Because at the end of the day, I want Boston to go back to back. I really do. I like
hell no.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I love Jaylen Brown. I was having this conversation with my brother Matthew Ward. Shout out to my boy Matt. Like, we was having this back and forth. I feel like Jaylen Brown is a guy who doesn't get the respect that he deserves. One of the best two-way players in the NBA. He a dog. He a killer. He the type of guy I can go to war with. Mm-hmm. Spinning it back to the whole recruiting thing, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can go to war with Jaylen Brown.
I agree.
And then Drew Holiday, another guy you can go to war with. Derek White, I love his story. They love Porzingis. I just like their team, and I like Joe Mazzulla. Like I said, I think he's a young coach, sharp mind, has a very good feel or has a very good knack for the game, and I want them to spin back to back for real. But first things first, man. They got to go to New York and take care of business. So we'll see how that go, man. But yeah, let's move on to the next game, man. The next series. OKC guy over here. We got to talk about the Thunder and the Nuggets. Give me your thoughts about it. Matter of fact, let me go first. Let me go first. Right. So, first game, OKC loses a heartbreaker, obviously. Aaron Gordon hits a 3 to win the game, basically. I feel like OKC played well in that game. They just, kind of fumbled it at the end. And then this game too, OKC they just blew them out. I'm very high on OKC. I think they're going to come out the West. I think I said in the last podcast that they were going to beat the Nuggets 4-2, I think, or something like that. I still stand on that. I still feel like OKC is going to handle these guys. I love Chet, love Shea, love Jalen Williams. They just got a really good team, and I like how they play. They play really hard. They play fast. They guard really well. So I think OKC is going to take care of them. But I do feel like Westbrook has been playing really well. It's damn near been vintage Russell Westbrook. So I definitely got to shout him out. And, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a really competitive series, but I think OKC is going to be too much for them. So series right now 1-1. We're going to see how it goes. But, Coach, talk to us about your guys, your squad.
Of course, I was disappointed in our game one loss and the magnitude of how we lost that game. But, Jokic did, like I said, I've said before, Jokic is my favorite player. He was world-renowned, had a 40-20 game, dominated the boards, and willed his team to victory. And the role player stepped up. Like I said, Russell Westbrook played well. I felt like it was a game in which we lost that game. They didn't necessarily win that game. We lost that game. We played the foul game. We were up 3. We fouled, and I've been talking to and got asked a lot. How I feel about it. Like, do I feel like we fouled too early in the clock? Yeah. I feel like no time was being wasted. Like, we're fouling immediately. But the thing about that is, if they make both free throws and we're up 1. Then they foul us. Now the pressure's on us. We need to make both of these free throws to maintain this 3-point lead. But I feel like if they would have waited a little bit, because you kind of correct me if I'm wrong, Coach. Like when it spin back on you, but like when you're playing, I feel like you kind of get a feel of when a team is about to go into their set or when they're about to go, try to attack. Because whether the Nuggets were about to go early, who knows? But we were fouling them in the front court. Like, they weren't even like cross half yet, and we're fouling early. Like, I felt like not enough time was taken off, and then of course, Chet misses 2 free throws, which I think he shot. I don't think he missed a free throw in game 2, but Chet misses 2 free throws late. Aaron Gordon comes down and hits a miraculous shot from the wing. Yeah, shit just sucked, and I think back game 2 we knew it was a sense of urgency. It's really tough. It's going to be tough for Boston going down to 0-2. That's a tough deficit. We knew we didn't want to go down 0-2 heading into Denver. I think game 3 is going to be really tough. But the way we played in game 2, I truly feel like that's the epitome of the Oklahoma City Thunder. We broke the record for the most points in the half. Scoring was balanced. None of our starters played the fourth quarter. Defensively, we looked good. I love Caruso. Luke Dort played great defense. Kayson Wallace came in and gave us valuable minutes. Isaiah Joe gave us good minutes. I'm a fan of Hartenstein. Like, we looking good, man. I just hope we can keep the momentum rolling. Game 3 is gonna be a grind. I think game 3 is Game 3 could be one of the better games of the playoffs. It should be anyway, because I don't, of course, the Nuggets aren't going to lose by 40-something points again. They did what they were supposed to do. They stole game 1. I think everyone in their right mind was probably, oh yeah, done to go get game 2. I think it was going to be about 40. No, but I did think it was going to be a double-digit win. Similar to my predictions today with the game that's currently going on with the Warriors and Timberwolves. Even with Steph even if Steph was playing, I still felt like it was going to be the same way. Like, just with the sense of urgency, it's just like, that's why it was shocking for me. Like, when the Celtics had their big lead in game 2, I was surprised to see them, give that up. But saying all that to say, I think we're going to keep the ball rolling. I think we're going to go in and win game 3. Set us up to get back that home court advantage. As long as we maintain home court advantage, I feel like we'll be okay, man. But again, Jokic is such a sharp basketball mind that I will never look past him. This is the matchup I wanted. However, I do feel like we match up very well with this team. We just got to control what we control, which is the main thing is making free. We talking about free throws here. We got to make our free throws, especially in crunch time. But what are some of your thoughts about that series?
Let me ask you this, man, because that's game 1 was another game where I felt like it was some criticism to OKC coaching staff. They mismanaged the game, blah blah blah. I don't feel that way. Do you feel like game 1? Do you feel like that was more so a coaching blunder or a player blunder? Like, or who is to blame for that game 1 loss for OKC?
Chet missed 2 free throws. I mean, you can't miss those free throws. And then I also said that our transition defense was terrible. I mean, Aaron Gordon was wide open on the wing when he got the shot. So, like, free throws missed. All right, we got to sprint. We got to find somebody. Like, we have to find somebody. So I think, again, it wasn't Chet Holmgren's fault, but at the end of the day, we're talking about free throws that need to be made. Because at first we were making
Thank you, bro. Thank you. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, bro, like, this is a player game, bro. The players are going out there and playing. Like, I seen some people saying, OKC, they was fouling too early. I'm like, bro, if Chet make 2 free throws, and he's a good free throw shooter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not even having this conversation, bro. Like, Chet, realistically speaking, like, Chet is never going to go to the line again and miss 2 free throws. Like, that's not even him. Like, he's a good free throw shooter. If he split, then it is what it is. But for him to miss 2, that's wild. That's stuff that don't ever really happen. So, I'm sure Chet is the type of guy who's going to take responsibility or to take ownership. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure he knows that it was on him. And they shook back. They shook back game 2 and blew them out, got them up out of here. It was crazy how bad they beat them. So I think OKC is in a good spot. Another thing I wanted to ask you too, and I mean, I've been hearing about this ever since I started watching the NBA. I think it's so lame how teams will legit win game 1 on the road and then just lay down game 2 on the road. Like, and people are saying, like, oh, it's okay. They got their split. They got their split, so they good. They got their split, so everything cool. I like what the Knicks did. They went into Boston, got 2 games. Let me go ahead and put my foot on their neck. I think that's facts. I think that's more so the mindset you need to have. But I feel like it's far too often, these teams get game 1 on the road and then game 2 they just kind of lay down or just kind of go through the motions. You could tell the Nuggets was going through the motions game 2. Joker, he fouled out. He looked like he didn't even really want to play no more. Like, it was just kind of lame. It was just kind of lame to me.
Well, in that sense,
their A1 effort. It was not the championship team that we know the Nuggets are capable of being. So that's the weak thing to me in my eyes. But I mean, a lot of people say the same thing. As long as they get their split, it's everything good, everything all right.
Because I think the ultimate goal is to defend home court. Like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, let's go. I'm trying to sweep everybody. Let's sweep everybody. Let's win 4-0. Let's get this shit done. But I do feel like sometimes emotions can drive, and it can sometimes be detrimental, but can drive team success. Like if you have, to your point, if I got these guys that's ready to go to war with me, understanding that we just got our ass beat and we need to win this game, I think from a mentality standpoint, we gonna be locked in. Whereas, like you said, the Nuggets could it have been fatigue? Could it be like, you know what, we're gonna go out here and play in it? But the way we came out as early, we punched them hard as hell for knockout punch first quarter. And then we just never
and they
back.
laid down. They laid.
Yeah.
They laid down
That's what
too.
it is. Like they didn't show no fight back because you're right. I mean, when Joker fouled out, they were down 35. But even still, like you don't the foul, like the shit he was doing, bro. Like you said, was just like y'all quit at halftime. Y'all quit at halftime. Y'all were just like on some, yeah, we getting our asses kicked. We done here at the half. I don't respect that. But I do think it is tough for, especially underdogs, like, in game ones and game two. It's tough for the road teams to come out and win. Like, I think I want to segue to, the Pacers. First and foremost, man, I think I talked a lot of shit or said a lot of stuff about Tyrese Haliburton on our last episode. Man, this dude, game one, played great. Game two, the Pacers are just, Cleveland, you gave them a lot of praise about this. You said they were good defensively. They had 2-footers. And I feel like the Pacers are very similar to the Celtics. They're going to score. They're looking to outscore you. They want the game to be fast paced. When the game is slowed down, which that's how the game was against Cleveland early on, it was going in Cleveland's favor. But Indiana never backs down. Indiana kept the pace going. And Haliburton ends up hitting a huge shot. Man, I seen a stat or a video actually on Twitter. It was like Tyrese Haliburton, out of his last 12 clutch buckets, he has made 11. He's 11 out of 12 when it comes to clutch buckets, bro. And they had like a little video montage of showing every single bucket that he hit. But man, what a moment to like the crowd's saying he's overrated and all these things. He hits it. And they say that's the same spot Braun hit his when he gamed them, I think during his last season in Indiana. Tyrese Haliburton, it's just, he did the little, the hold my nuts celebration and whatnot. Rightfully, I mean, I don't care what no one says. It's one of the best feelings in the world is proving somebody wrong. Someone doubting you, and he's being doubted amongst his peers. His peers voted him anonymously that he was the most overrated in the league. Like I said, and I agree with it in a sense, but I will say this: yeah, he may be a little overrated, but he can compete. He's a competitor, and the Pacers are going back into Indiana. I think Indiana is one of the toughest places to win because again, their offense is so prolific. It's gonna be tough for Cleveland to bounce back, man. I don't know how healthy. Their court, Garland's supposed to be back. Evan Mobley's supposed to be back. And, I keep that in mind as well about, with them losing that game. But, again, the Pacers had to fight back. And ultimately, not only did the Tyrese Haliburton miss a free throw, the Cavs gave up an offensive rebound and then gave up the game-winning three. So, like we just talked about, like, that's player shit. Y'all know how big this rebound is. You need to rebound this with your life. But the shooter got the rebound? Come on now. That can't happen.
Yeah, that's inexcusable.
That can't happen, especially being down.
I think
0-1.
I think we gotta. Yeah, I think we gotta. I was about to say. I think I might owe Tyrese Haliburton an apology, but at the end of the day, one thing that gets me now. This is my critique about the NBA. I think a lot of people are hard on the coaches. I think a lot of people, want to come down on the coaches really hard. I feel like you have to know your personnel, and that's coaching too. That's coaching too. Like, I feel like a lot of times Tyrese Haliburton, me personally, I've never seen him go left and like really make a play. I've never seen him go left and get to the rim and finish with a left-handed lay. I've never seen him really go left and do anything effective. And I'm not just talking about just scoring. I'm talking about like, make a play, pass the ball, draw help.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like he's a threat at all going left. And I mean, just watching these first two games against the Cavs, it's like he's good at it. He gets to his right hand extremely well. But it's like you need to sit. You got to sit on his right hand, man, because I've just never seen him do anything like driving hard left. I've never seen him do anything impressive, honestly. even when he got the rebound, he dribbled it out. He had it in his right hand. He was going one way, and then he came back, kind of snatched back, and then put up for the three. Like, just make him go left. Make him go left. I've not seen him do anything going to his left hand. And, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I feel like you need to know your personnel. These guys are already hard enough as is to stop, force them to their weakness, especially a guy like Tyrese Haliburton, a guy who's really good going to his right hand. And a guy too, like once he draws help, he knows how to, kick it to the open man. And he's really good finishing going to his right hand. So, I think you got to force him left and, live with whatever he does. But I just ain't never seen it, me personally.
No, I agree, Coach. You're right. If I'm not mistaken, I think when that last possession, he drove left and did like I said, like a snapback, a step back or snatch back, and pulled and made it. To your point, but I think that alludes to focus, mental. In that moment, you're on defense. You could probably just have your brain just goes blank. Like you don't even realize you're guarding Tyrese Haliburton. You don't even realize what the scout is. Like you just understand that we got to get a stop on this possession, or it's game over, or we going to overtime. I think that plays a factor into it as well. Always knowing the moment, always being present in the moment is so important as an athlete, man. Always remember the scout, because I'm pretty sure that's on the scout. I'm pretty sure it is. Similar with Julius Randle. Julius Randle going where? Left. He is not touching that right hand. He don't give a damn about going right. But James Harden, same thing. But it's just like in those moments, you could forget. Or, James Harden, he, like you said Tyrese Haliburton is good at getting back to his right. A player like James Harden is elite at getting back to his left. So, yeah, man, like I said, I just gave him an apology because I feel like I was cutting him some slack. But he is a gamer. He is a competitor. Like, I'm not taking that away from him, but I do still think bro a little overrated. But that's neither overrated too. And then the last game is the one that's currently on. I ended up cutting it off. But at half, I seen the Wolves up 56-39, but the Warriors were able to steal game one. Timberwolves shot bad. I love what Chris Finch said. He didn't want his team to just allude at the bad shooting. He said he felt like it was a multitude of other things that correlated to that loss, like no toughness. He called out Anthony Edwards. And when I say called out, not in no bad way, but just holding his play, like he felt like once Anthony Edwards' offense wasn't going, felt like he kind of took a step back from the game. He said, he said he is the energy of this team. He has to go out there and set the tone, whether he's making shots or not. I 100% love that. And the fact that he wasn't afraid to do it. Yeah. Like, I know they probably had a conversation. He didn't bash him. He didn't raise his voice. He was talking in the talking like, hey, Anthony Edwards has to understand who he is. He has to go out there and set the tone. We're going to follow his lead. They are going to follow his lead.
Yeah, facts.
So if they see him chilling,
I mean, he was right. He was absolutely right. Like, he was actually absolutely right for doing that. Watching that game one, like Ant was non-existent, especially in the first half. He tried to turn it on in the second half, but in that first half, like 2 points, you're not making no type of impact. Yeah, but it was even on the defensive side too. Like, offensively he was struggling, right. But defensively, I mean, he ain't really make his presence felt at all. So I feel like that criticism was warranted for sure. And at the end of the day,
I think that's knowing your personnel. That's knowing your personnel. I think Chris Finch understood that he was able to do that from a public standpoint, because you got a lot of guys that softly like, man, my coach shitting on me in public. He could have told me this, but I feel like the conversation. I truly feel like they probably had a conversation prior to him even going to his post game press conference. What I'm saying, this is one of the things that we talk about in the locker room, to where it's like, they probably had their talk. And if Anthony Edwards is who I think he is, I think that's what he wants. He wants that. He wants to be held accountable. He wants his coaches to call him out. I know I used to let me know. Don't sugarcoat shit. Let me know when I'm doing wrong, so I can fix it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes even the best sometimes have moments of weakness when they need to get picked up. And I think all Chris Finch was doing was picking up his lead soldier and saying like, "Hey, bro, we got you, but we need you to don't give up, don't quit, don't fold." You know what I'm saying? But we need you to lead the charge. We're right behind you. So shout out to Chris Finch for that, man.
Facts. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I also want to shout out Draymond Green too. You know, I'm a guy who gives him um a lot of criticism for sure because obviously Draymond, he's a winner. You know, he's a competitor. He's a competitor. He's a super emotional guy, which is good. But I mean, that game one, he led them. He led them to victory without Steph.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
I
definitely
agree.
impressed with him. And Golden State now them getting a split. That's good, especially without Steph. Like that's a win for them. And hopefully it looks like they better lose this one, but hopefully going back to Golden State, they can get Steph back and they can go ahead and get back to full strength. I hate injuries in the playoffs, man. It takes away from the product.
Mm-hmm.
Steph
Mm-hmm.
being out, like Steph is one of the best players to ever pick up a basketball, and he hurt his hamstring, so he's out game 2. Hopefully he can come back soon, but man, injuries, we say it all the time, man. Injuries hurt the game. Obviously, it's a part of the game, but it hurts the game so much. You
Sucks.
want to see these stars go out here and do great things. You want to see these stars go out there and perform. And, game 1, Steph was cooking. He had 13 points in 13 minutes before he got hurt. And, obviously he's out game 2. So, hopefully he can get back, man.
I mean, just him being
hopefully we can see
him just being on the floor
series.
is just him being on the floor alone is good enough as is, man. So, like you said, praying for Steph to get back healthy, so we can see high level basketball, man. And honestly, Coach, to conclude this episode, man, I just wanted to end on one thing. Like, I truly feel like this has been some of the best playoffs of recent memory. I think I said earlier in our group chat, this is the best, probably like within like the last 7-8 years. And the reason I say that, and I want your thoughts on it. The reason I say that, we grew up on 10 years of Braun going to the finals. 5 of those years, he played the Warriors. So it was like predictable. We knew it was going to be Braun, wherever he's at, versus somebody. Braun also played the Spurs. So that's 7 of those years. So it's like we were just seeing the same thing where it was just getting predictable. Now I love the unpredictability of it. I love the balance, the grit. I feel like the players' mindsets are different, man. Like I don't know what it is about this specific playoffs, but it's I love the fact that like you may be thinking one thing, but you're about to see something else. I love the star level of the NBA. I feel like everyone is bought into their coaches, their systems, their teammates right now. And I don't think we'll see any more sweeps. I don't think we'll see any sweeps going forward. I expect to see a lot of game 6s and game 7s. I'm just very excited for how this is going to play out, man. But I just wanted to say, man, I truly feel like this is one of the best playoffs we've seen in recent years. What you think so far?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, bro. I think just for me, like it's almost damn near like sad to see. Like it's kind of like the passing of the torch for real because Braun not there, KD not there. Like these great players that we grew up on are not making that run that they normally do. Obviously KD made it to the finals. Won a championship. Braun is Braun. All these really good players are damn near non-existent anymore. Steph's still kind of carrying that torch for the older guys, but these younger teams, these younger squads are really starting to really make a name for themselves. You got Ant. Houston was super young, obviously, but they played well. They battled Golden State really hard. OKC, another young up and coming team. Just the passing of the torch, man. We seen it right before our eyes, and it damn near I damn near want to shed a tear, bro, because it's kind of like the times are changing.
Hell yeah.
Braun is, he going on year 2023.
Is it 22 or 23? A lot. So
whatever. Yeah. Like KD, he getting up there. Harden, he getting up there. Like Westbrook playing a lot of seasons. Like it's crazy, bro. It's crazy to see. So, but to your point, man, I think it's been a really good playoffs, and hopefully we can just continue to see good basketball, man, and hopefully guys can drag it out as long as they possibly can. Because at the end of the day, once NBA is over, we don't have no basketball for a while. So, shout out to the NBA, man. Shout out to everybody in the league. Continue to do great things, and continue to entertain the world, man. Do your thing.
And one last time, shout out to the moms. The moms that's doing a great job. Those that are playing the part of a mom for somebody. Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for everything. Hopefully y'all all have a great weekend. And again, shout out to my wife, the best mom I know.
Yeah, man. Shout out all the moms. Shout out Mariah. Shout out my mom, Evelyn. Shout out my sister. Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to all the moms, man. Love y'all. Y'all keep holding it down.
Episode 11, man. That's a wrap. See y'all next time.